A possible political shift is now emerging in Kenya's evolving power landscape, and fresh signals point to the dialogue where division once stood. The Kirinyaga governor Anne Waiguru has indicated that President William Ruto and former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua could in the future engage in dialogue as political realignments intensify ahead of the 2027 general election. The remarks were made on Tuesday, March 31st in Ngariama, Gishugu constituency, where Governor Waiguru addressed residents on the shifting political dynamics in the Mount Kenya region. Her message was clear that politics, she said, is driven by interests, not emotion, and in the Kenyan political history, alliances have often changed when circumstances demand. The governor pointed to the possibility of the future engagement between President Ruto and his former deputy Rigathi Gachagua, and this comes months of the public and political fallout between the two leaders. That fallout has since reshaped the political landscape, and Gachagua has emerged as a central opposition figure. He is now working with other leaders and new formations aimed at challenging President Ruto's leadership ahead of the next general election. At the same time, President Ruto continues to consolidate support across different regions, and this includes efforts to maintain a broad political base that extends beyond traditional strongholds. It is within this context that the Waiguru's remarks carry weight, and they reflect ongoing conversations and speculation around possible future alliances. The governor drew attention to the past political developments in Kenya and moments when rivals set aside differences and worked together. She referenced the previous political reconciliations that reshaped the country's leadership structure. These include engagements involving Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta. These moments, she suggested, show the political positions are not always permanent. They can evolve, they can shift, and also they can lead to unexpected partnerships. Her remarks come at a time when Mount Kenya is once again becoming a key political battleground. The region played a significant role in the outcome of the previous elections, and it is expected to remain decisive in 2027. Leaders across the political divide are now positioning themselves to influence the region's direction. For President Ruto, the challenge is complex. He must balance regional expectations, he must maintain current alliances, and also he must manage relationships within his own political coalitions. This includes working with the Deputy President Kithure Kindiki while also engaging supporters from other political groupings, including those aligned with the Orange Democratic Movement. The governor addressed this directly. She urged the residents to take up a pragmatic approach, to consider long-term interests, and also to avoid decisions driven purely by emotion. Her message focused on unity and also strategic positioning. She emphasized that no single region can determine the presidency on its own, and the national leadership requires support from multiple communities. This, she said, makes alliances necessary. It also makes negotiation unavoidable. And for the people of Mount Kenya, the implications are significant that the region's political direction will influence its level of participation in national leadership. It will also affect access to the development opportunities tied to the government priorities. Waiguru warned that isolation could come at a cost. She stressed the importance of remaining engaged within the national political framework, and her remarks also touched on recent tensions with Rigathi Gachagua, the former deputy president, and urged residents in Kirinyaga to reserve their political enthusiasm for local leaders during presidential visits. That position raises questions about the relationship between national and regional leadership. Waiguru interpreted the remarks differently. She suggested they could signal deeper political calculations, possibly even early signs of future engagement between opposing sides. Her view aligns with recent reports suggesting that efforts at dialogue may already be taking place behind the scenes. These reports indicate that intermediaries could be exploring the possibility of talks. However, no official confirmation has been made and no formal processes have been announced. Still, the idea of political handshake remains part of the Kenya's political vocabulary. It represents reconciliation, it represents strategic alignment, and it often signals a shift in power dynamics. For many observers, the suggestion of such move between Ruto and Gachagua highlights the fluid nature of Kenyan politics, where today's rivals can become tomorrow's allies, and where political survival often depends on adaptability. Beyond the speculation, Waiguru also made her own political intentions clear. She indicated that she is positioning herself for a higher role in a national leadership. Specifically, she expressed interest in the deputy presidency. This places her among a growing number of leaders preparing for the 2027 contest. Her statement signals ambition, but it also reflects a broader trend. Leaders across the country are beginning to define their roles in the next electoral cycle. They are building alliances, strengthening regional bases, and shaping narratives that will guide their campaigns. For Waiguru, her approach appears to center on negotiation and inclusion, and she emphasized the need to remain at the decision-making table to represent the interests of Kirinyaga and wider Mount Kenya region. Her message to the residents was framed around opportunity and the idea that political positioning today can influence outcomes tomorrow. As these developments unfold, the national political conversation continues to evolve. Attention is gradually shifting towards the 2027, and with it, new alliances are being considered, old rivalries are being reassessed, and strategic calculations are becoming more visible. For the public, these shifts can also have real impact. They shape policy direction, they influence development priorities, and also they determine the leadership that will guide the country in the coming years. At this stage, the possibility of dialogue between President Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua remains just that, a possibility. But in Kenya's political history, such possibilities have often become reality. What is clear is that the ground is shifting and leaders are preparing for what lies ahead, carefully, strategically, and with an eye of both power and partnership. And as alliances begin to take shape, Kenya once again stands at a familiar crossroads where today's divisions may yet define tomorrow's unity. That is all for today from Kenya Lens Media. Kindly, if you are new here, consider subscribing as a way of motivating us and also helping us grow this platform.